We are live. Welcome everyone to Bardic Inspiration. This is Dungeons and Dragons in Shakespearean Style. I am your Dungeon Master, Adam Pimbry, and with me this eve are the Magical Cane Band. I'm back after 2 weeks away when the Headless Marys sorted us out far, far away from where they are currently in the nation of Eston and a month in the future. So you've traveled back in time to join us this evening. Before we get started, and I turn it over to the cast for the recap. Bless you.
Sorry.
Let's roll for initiative.
Before I turn it over to them for the recap, I want to point out that we've got an October special, an October surprise, a Red October, some witchy one-shots for the next 2 weeks. We will take a break from our regularly scheduled campaign action to run 2 one-shots, one on the 24th of October next Sunday and one on All Hallows Eve itself, the 31st, which happens to be a Sunday. We are going to do 2 one-shots next week. Fair is Foul, and followed by, of course, Foul is Fair. We'll be playing with a really fancy homebrew witch class by Walrock Homebrew, which I will link to in the show notes after we upload this to YouTube on our channel this Tuesday. And you can also follow us on Twitter for that link right now. I've just posted it recently. It's amazing. I'm very excited to play test it with all of y'all. A whole bunch of both the Magical Cane Band players that are here tonight and some folks from the Headless Marys are all mixed and matched, playing new characters. And I'm very excited for that. So come get spooky with the Bardic Inspiration folks. That covers the main announcements. If you have not yet, please subscribe here to our YouTube channel, Bardic Inspiration, and click that bell so that you can be notified when our episodes go live and we're posting new stuff. You can also follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Bardic_inspo. Without further ado, I would like to turn it over to you, the Magical Cane Band, and put 2 minutes, as per custom, on a timer for you to recap the events of last episode, which began in the aftermath, the late night hours of a party, feast, a celebration with Budge's family in the Moonwood, which you have just finally arrived at. And you are also, as of just recently, level 9 adventurers. Congratulations. You may start your recap in 3, 2, 1, go.
Too much. Come on, Budge, it's your family. We're not going to talk about your family for you.
All I did was play the bongos and chat a bit.
Yeah, I slapped and bit someone.
There was so much going on. Like we had to sleep before going to sleep. I believe Budge tried to get all of you to wear little charms to wear while you're in the Moonwood, so that if you wandered off, possessed by some sort of fey entity, you would jangle about in the night. But Rain didn't want to wear one because she noticed that only the kids wore them, because you only have to wear it the first time you're in the Moonwood. Yeah, you didn't want to wear it.
Nevertheless, we all had crazy dreams.
Nuts dreams. And what, didn't Finn saw herself?
Oh yeah, there were all sorts of spoopy, very spoopy dreams. Hang on, before we went to sleep, there was Alora and someone.
Brangle.
What happened?
Figured us out.
Brangle Gantru.
Dreams were interrupted by a small child having an absolute freak out, and Budge managed to calm her with a magic spell, which led him to discover there are demons in the forest.
Yes, well, read the stars, I believe, after that to find out. But we talked to them because it turned out that this little bugbear child, Patches, she was possessed in some way or was having awful nightmares. She was the daughter of Nosh, the bugbear, all from the clan Gantru. And we talked to the old bugbear, Orthos, I believe, who talked to us about like how they were traveling up their usual like ancestral trail or whatever it was, and there were more and more monsters and awful business along the way, but doesn't matter. And then they all lost a day, except for Patches, who was awake the whole time, and she saw some horrible stuff.
And then Laura did a dumb thing.
we close on Laura did a dumb thing. Which was actually, in spite of all of that, the namesake for the title of our last episode, Risk It for Thy Biscuit. Alora tried to turn a piece of Godstone, the rhyme of reason, into her artificer manifest mind. She tried to merge her consciousness with a crystal that they have recently learned is a piece of the Reaper, a literal piece of a god. And that went weirdly for Alora, who as a result is exhausted and has taken some psychic damage, but not before she had a pretty intense set of visions, including a sort of rapid zoom out of their region and hearing thousands upon thousands of simultaneous voices in different languages. But when she collected her wits, she saw a strange scene. As if holding a great scythe, a stone blade in her hand, and hearing the voice of perfect golden wheat, a strange spider calling out, cut us down, and voices behind her screaming, cut it down. So now, it is the morning of the 22nd of Snowbreak. You are about your various bits of business, all of you having had the benefits of a long rest in spite of your interruption, but Alora has 1 point of exhaustion, which means your ability checks will be at disadvantage until either a long rest or some other remedy presents itself. I believe that is all of the bits of business to attend to. So, Budge, you, I believe, were talking to Alora as we left off last time. You found her. She sort of stumbled out of the interdimensional space from her spell, the rope trick, where she was safely doing this. You see Alora in front of you now, eyes bloodshot as though she's been up for nights on end studying, her face looking haggard, and difficulty focusing. She seems to be looking to your left and right as well as at you before she finally sort of locks onto you.
The get down biscuit, at least?
I think so. Where's broccoli?
Wait, Allura, did they want to put the thing back in the bag?
I did, as I felt like that's the first thing I did as I came
right, okay.
out of the hole.
Well, he'll just like tighten it up and like tuck the bag away, one of his cloak pockets. Wait, okay.
Does thou happen to have any today's tea?
I think that I haven't made any tea personally, but I don't think you'll have to walk far to find someone, so you'll have a selection.
Right.
You'll just have a browse.
I will.
Follow the nose.
Okay, Budge, make a survival check then. See what you can find.
All right.
If that's what you meant by you're gonna go have a browse.
Yeah. I'll help look.
You got the tea selection of the root.
Oh, was Alora talking to Broccoli then? I think I
No, Budge was telling me to go have a look at all the different tea available to me in the camp.
I gotcha. Okay. So, well, here's the thing. Budge is back on familiar turf, and has spent a number of seasons here in the Moonwood. So you got what you've been collecting as you're going along now. But I think with a roll that high, Budge, you would immediately locate on the fringes of the sort of campsite area. There are a number of different blooming flowers and herbs that stand out to you as being perhaps useful in this case. You've got a selection of a few different aromatic but otherwise harmless herbs that kind of give a really floral, nice, soothing kind of scent, but don't really impact the taste too much. And then you find what is really the great find here, which is a very late in the season batch of snowberries. It's entirely too late for these to be still going, and these aren't the finest of specimens. They seem to be just clinging to life in a dark patch behind a tree, a little bit low-lying. But you know that if you crush these up and mix them in with the tea, it'll make a really kind of bittersweet, hearty flavor that's really
Cool. I'll set them up, and I'll just go, right, I should have some of this ready for you in a moment. Are you sure you're all right?
Yep.
All right, then. Well, snowberries tea for the traveler from the Snowdrop Isles, then.
Didst I hear thee say snowberries? Berries of the snow, good Budge.
Aye, Broccoli. If only we had some cake bark.
Oh, we need it not. Oh, friends, Look upon this elixir. Herein are we blessed. Snowberries here, a bittersweet symphony upon our palate will ensue. We shall sup upon this gift. It belongs not here at this time, and yet here it is, to be steeped. And now are we steeped in luck, good friends. Smell the air. It is rich with bonfires past and with optimism future. We have all ahead of us. What a night we've spent, friends. Hearts opened, opportunities blossomed, friendships forged. And now here we find ourselves with today's tea steeped in snowberries. Well, merry is the heart that sups upon this tea, and good friends, merry shall we be, for I see not how this day is not filled with the tune of a dancing minstrel whose only song is one of hope, and so too shall our hearts be full of hope this day, for whatever we endeavor to charge our minds to, so shall we accomplish it. Dare thyselves to dream big this day, good friends, for Snowberry's elixir shall show us the light, as the stars do, and the sun shall, and so shall our hearts be open with the light of Snowberry's goodness. Go, friends, sup upon it, and enjoy this day!
Every time.
Every time I get tricks.
Every time.
Yes,
Please, Mr. Vic, accept this mote of Bardic Inspiration. I don't even, it doesn't matter how many times you do that, I still sometimes forget it's what you're doing until like 3 or 4 sentences into the bit. Okay, how many temporary hit points does everyone get from your inspiring leader speech?
And maybe it's changed since I leveled up. I should
go up by 1 point, I think.
I should double check. The things I haven't looked at. Inspiring leader. 11, 11 temporary hit points, everyone.
There you go.
That's good.
Gosh.
And I think, how many of us are there? There's one random bugbear that was just listening in also gets.
Oh my god. Okay, give me a second.
They're just gonna have a really great day. It wasn't directed particularly at them.
Okay, Broccoli, please roll a d8 for me.
Oh.
Who will it be? Lucky number 7?
Lucky number 7. Big Norman, the Fight Club fan,
Big Norman.
happened to be nearby, and you can hear this almighty belch from where he suddenly like sits up with a start. Says, well, I've had something that agreed powerful with me for breakfast. What would be that then? He looks hale and hearty, and a little bit confused. And all of you feel that familiar warm sensation that's not new to you. Whenever Broccoli finishes this speech, it is as though a ripple effect proceeds out from his person, warming and sharpening your senses.
Thank you, Broccoli. It has quickly become a joy in my routine to start my day by listening to thee.
Well, lucky that each day is so full of promise, Alora.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pity the day when I wake up in a glum frame of mind.
As do I. I would hate to see thee in a glum frame of mind, my friend.
Speaking of promise, last night I promised Budge that we would sort this out, this impending doom that's coming to this village. So perhaps that's what we should do this morning.
Yes, we shall drink some snowberry tea and sort out the doom.
I did tell all of thee what I saw in that vision when I looked into the stars of a 2-headed demon. Horrible, sharp teeth.
1 head for me, 1 head for Broccoli.
Might be a bit trickier than just a head of broccoli, but
perhaps we could, if we do a show for this 2-headed demon, that's 2 audience members there in for the price of 1.
perhaps it could be a Greek legend show, and when we do the show we could run off into different directions and then run together and then run away and then together, and the necks could get tangled and their heads ended up eating each other.
A classic two-headed tomfoolery. Well, this is plan A. Lock it in. Like, misdirection of two heads, and so they become entwined and are forced to fight each other to the death. Plan A, herein locked in.
So,
Plan B, shoots one of the heads with an arrow. The arrow accidentally goes through both heads and kills the demon, and we are victorious once more. Plan B for Budge.
All right.
Plan C, we ask if the two-headed demon wants to become part of the magical cane band. Think of the shows we could herein do.
if we kill this magical demon,
That's Plan C for cane band.
where will we store its carcass? Are we not already dragging around a magical disc full of dragon carcass?
Do demons even have bodies when they die?
If
Can
they
we
do,
even
we
kill
shall
it?
chop it up and sell it off in bits, as is our brand.
Do any of you have proficiency in religion? Actually, Rain, you would get advantage on this roll if you want to take. Let's see what Rain does know or recall about demons.
Brilliant. I'll just roll them at the same time.
Sure, we'll just take the highest and add your modifier, whatever that might be.
Okay.
Well, not great. Not great.
Rain.
Okay, so that's a 5.
Rain.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like what you do know, Rain. You do know just like demons are creatures of spirit, but whether or not flesh or bodies can be involved, it's hard to say. You don't really have like an academic answer for that, but you know that they are creatures of spirit.
Do I have an academic answer for that?
I don't say anything.
That's fine. Do you have proficiency in religion, Alora?
Nope, but my modifier is pretty high.
Yeah, yeah. How about Arcana?
Just
You know,
knows a lot
I-
of stuff.
Okay,
Knows some
make
stuff.
an
Right.
Arcana check, but you need to do it
Oh.
at disadvantage because brain fog.
Modifier for that is even higher, which is fine.
Wha- Plan D could be D for demon. We ask the demon what the demon wants to do.
17, and then one more time. There it is. Good time to thank Matt Day, our resident technomancer, for building Rollcast. Okay, 17 it is. That's the platform that allows us to have these cool virtual dice while we're streaming and playing together. 17, pretty good. Yeah, Alora, you would know that demons are creatures of spirit, but they can fill bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So they can possess people for sure. And the sort of reputation that demons have in fact, this is probably the closest thing to how Finn might have encountered word of demons, depending on how closely Finn may have paid attention to these things in shows and stuff. But they affect the passions. When people feel extremely angry or extremely sad, someone might say that they are moved by that they've been struck by passion, and sometimes that's literalized. They say that a passion can possess someone. That's the spooky version of that.
Friends, if we came across a demon and it was in physical form, it would be but borrowed from someone else. And if we killed it, then we do indeed free that form from the demon, but it would not be a demon corpse in our hands. It would be the remains of another creature that the demon did but just possess. That's now okay, Rain?
Rain is feeling well?
I'm just gonna check over my shoulder for the bugbear child that actually got possessed.
Yeah, you can see actually, Budge, that Nosh is sitting near the fire, which someone has begun to stoke to sort of heat up breakfast or boil some water. And Patches is sitting upright and eating voraciously. She is like absolutely tearing into a bowl of something that her mom has made, and Nosh is like looking incredulously at her and like the empty bowl's handed back, and she's like, right then, all right, and like scoops up some more porridge that's been made there and like gives it back. She's like, you sure you don't want some honey? Oh, all right. Oh no, that's fine. Go right into it then.
Is she eating like a hungry child who's sort of not been eating for days kind of way, or is she eating in like a ring girl endless hunger of the dark pits type of way?
Well, it depends on what kind of, I guess, information. You can make an insight check just to kind of read her body language and see what that's like. Or you can make a religion check if you want to see if you know something occult about this.
I just want to read her body language.
Sure, make an insight check then. $14. Okay. Yeah, she looks like she's eating like she hasn't eaten in days. I mean, yeah, there's nothing immediately supernatural in appearance or like her. She just looks like a tired kid.
No glowing eyes. Cool.
Yeah, no, not at the moment. You'll notice as well, though, that on the other side of camp, a number of folks are sort of gathering together and talking. And as that seems to be happening, Zilla wanders over to the group of you and says, "Look, Mum and Nan, they're looking to convene something of a council. Talk with Orthos and the other clans about last night and what to do about things. They said you're welcome to come join us, and you're with us now."
Right. All right. I think we'll come then.
All right. You follow her over to the group. It seems to have formed a little bit away from the fire. Someone has dragged up another big log, and Esme and Saphira have both led Ichabod slowly over to sit there. She looks exhausted. She looks like she has not slept. And her head is kind of like not quite nodding. She is looking alert with her eyes, but everything else about her features are sagging. Esme is practically glued to her side, sitting next to her, kind of to physically support her, and Saphira is sort of standing with her arms crossed behind, with an eye to the edge of the forest and looking out over everyone else. And a handful of the other bugbears and hobgoblins and goblins who are from each of the different clans, who, as you learned last week, are the Gantru, the Baintru, and the Rockphalian. Not everyone's over here. It's mostly just like a couple of older or more senior seeming members of each of them to sort of sit there. And they nod at you all as you come closer.
Is Brangle there?
Brangle is not there. Brangle is kind of over by the fire still, and is serving up some food for some other folks in the clan. But he gives you kind of a nod and a smile as you're going by. Kind of like looks at, like his eyes furrow for a second, looking at you, then just smiles and shrugs and goes back to scooping up the porridge for someone who's asking. Around the log where Ichabod is sitting, you can see that there's sort of mid-conversation already. And Orthos is in the middle of a sentence and saying, well, it's as I said, I feel I've brought this upon you all in pushing for us to come here. We thought would be safe, and you have our words. As a clan Gantru, we'll take the young one and the rest of us and go our way along a different path. We won't keep you in danger any longer. Just give us a moment to keep our strength. And there is a bit of an uproar at this, even as people who are in the middle of sort of nodding at you. There's some people shouting from both sides, not like aggressively, but like emotionally, just emphatically. And as that kind of hubbub reaches a peak, Saphira steps forward and doesn't seem like she's talking very loud, but she just says, "No." And then most of the other folks just kind of quiet down. And then she looks at Orthos and says, "Orthos, I respect the honor of your position, and I understand if I were in it, I'd make the same offer you're making. But we don't leave a clan to starve and wither when safe haven's what they need." And then a bunch of people kind of chime in from around, like, "Yeah." And then Saphira just kind of steps back, and Orthos doesn't continue that line of thinking. A few other people around him don't say anything as well, but they look relieved, really sort of relieved at that. Esme, who has been keeping an eye on Ichabod, sort of looks up then and says, "We have to do something. We have to tend to the child. She seems well this morning, and I thank you, Budge, for your quick thinking last night. Thank you to all of you who've stepped up with extra watch shifts. Just this morning, I've had every one of you come up to me at different times and say that you want to go seeking trouble in the woods, or you want to volunteer your services to discover what could be the cause of this ailment. We won't be doing anything unless we do it together. But I must say that the day of gleaning is approaching. And if we are to gather the omens as we're meant to, there's danger ahead. 'Tis always a fraught prospect to venture into the Moonwood, as I must, as some of us must, to read these signs, to bring them back for the day. But it hath just become much harder for us to leave. For anyone who leaves here, that is strength deprived to our numbers, isn't it?" There's murmurs of agreement from that. "Any strong arm or ready spell that leaves this place can't be here to defend us if the worst happens."
Finn,
Yes, right.
did they just say they're going to gather omens?
I'm not too sure, but I think they're saying no one who could help should leave. I worry for our Budge.
I do not know why they don't just ask us to take care of the problem. We've rescued half of them already.
Exactly. I for one am all about a demon exorcism. I think we can assassinate. Why? It is a most theatrical event. We can set it up like a ritual. We can light it properly with the music. I think we could add it to our repertoire, the magical traveling exorcism cane band.
I imagine we're standing around, Budge will just lean over and she'd be like, "Are we talking about if we could volunteer so that, since others have to stay?"
The three of you who are huddling here talking might be about this point, you notice. Alora, I would assume that even with your somewhat reduced ability to focus, you'd probably pick up first. It has gone quiet. A number of people in the group are looking over at your talking group. but specifically, Ichabod speaks. Mistress Finn. And she is staring the air just above Finn's head. She smiles faintly and then looks at you in the eye, Finn. I believe you have something to suggest.
Rain and I were just discussing that the Cane Band should volunteer for such an expedition, for we have defeated many a foe of many kind, of spirit or physical form, and
I just start adding in like a low, like a motivational beat, like a bum, 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 bum.
And whether it be the Moonwood or in Orst, whether it be upon a river, the Cane Band, of course, shall take any foe that comes our way, and if it is a dragon, we shall slay. For we are the Cane Band, strong and true, and even though we are only a few, we will find this demon and put it to bed. And we shall do so before you are by this evening fed.
Anna, please take this mode of information for dropping some rhyming couplets in character.
Oh, we might need it.
Yes.
If we're gonna do it tonight.
That just came out. I was like, God.
Finn, you have in your way, almost inadvertently, dropped into a kind of enthralling performance. This isn't, you haven't mechanically triggered it in this case, but as your rhymes and your fluid speech and the images you conjure sort of start weaving out in front of you to Broccoli's beat, eyes grow wide around the circle. And then at that point, Arlo, the sturdy hobgoblin whom you saw the night before at one point, tears his eyes away from Finn, which everyone is just staring at you in awe, and looks to Budge and says, "Perhaps it is time you explain to us if it's true what we have heard, that you truly slayed a dragon."
Aye, we did.
Oh, we could have done it in a play.
Good gentles, gather round. As thou art already seated and assembled, and thou shalt now see the tale of Budge's arrow. I'll be the dragon. Rain, up on my shoulders.
I will pull from the bag of holding, as I've been tanning it for the last, 3-4 days, so it's hopefully, dried out. And I will try and throw the dragon hide over Rain and Broccoli.
Okay. So, are you doing this? You're doing a performative telling of this tale? Because you're ready. Let's do this. In
short performance.
Sure. Okay. So, in past, when you have done this, you have had someone take a sort of narrator prologue role, and then you've had people performing, and then you've had people doing special effects or things like that. So, if you tell me how you're contributing, we will have the roles, and you can tell me how it goes.
I think Cane Band. What if we were to do it almost like a puppet show, but with people? And so Broccoli, thou art to be the dragon, and then maybe Budge could play himself, and we do it silently, but with a musical background, perhaps some lighting effects.
And I shall be the arrow.
Lord, wake up!
With Budge's...
I shall throw thee.
Yes.
We shall flip thee across.
Yes. And using my acrobatic skills, I'll land straight on Broccoli and he'll go down.
Finn, could you play Budge?
I could, yes.
Thank you. I'd much prefer to just stay out of it in some capacity, or just not be acting in any way. But I don't know if you can do this. But if you could do some sort of impression of me.
Oh, well, why would I? Why? would I do an impression of thee when I shall let the muse take your essence and put it through another form? I would never think to be you.
Right, then run my essence through a form then. I'd appreciate it.
And Budge, you can throw me as if I am an arrow at Broccoli, for you are so strong, you will be able to do that.
Right, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Sorry, Harlow, just 1 second. I'll be able to confirm this.
Behold, 'tis I, Hagor the dragon.
Thunder
Listen
roll.
to my mighty roar.
Raw.
It's even sometimes much mightier than that, Alora.
Mightier raw.
Are you using your thingies to make the loud noises?
I'm sitting on the ground. Like as soon as we got over here, I just sat down. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
This is just representative of the physical energy Alora's exerting to make those things happen.
Listen as I flap my wings.
slap noise.
That flap noise thou hearest is the flappiest noise indeed. But those gathered, it is I, Hagor the dragon, dark of scale and black of heart. Who can defeat me? None! Ha 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 ha! None can defeat me! Har 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 har! And the pantomime to the kids, you know. Oh, these kids look delicious. Oh, I could go some bugbear babies for breakfast. When I say Airbnb, the B&B stands for bugbear babies.
A bunch of them have run over seeing you don this costume. Two things are happening. One, the kids and some of the other people are running over. The kids running, the others kind of walking quickly. But the people who have been there the longest, who are just sitting down, are eyes riveted to that hide that you have put on your back, Broccoli. There are seasoned hunters and trackers in this group, and they know the real article when they see it, even if they've never seen a dragon. You remember that hide when it was on Hergor. It is still every bit as impressive as it was then, with its gleaming black shining scales that glitter with that strange purpley pink gloss that ripples in between them. And it is genuinely a bit awe-inspiring for the people who can see that from behind. And the kids are just squealing as you chase them. Okay.
Sitting on the ground, I'll just do a bit of a Greek chorus bit and go, "Oh no, whatever shall we do? Is there none here who can taste the dragon?" Enter the hunter.
I've given Finn my cloak and stuff.
Who is this? He looks like a hunter.
I am just hunting in the forest. Oh, the dragon!
Did you hear something? Did anyone hear something?
Sound of leaves.
Budge, let's get ready to throw.
With my arrow, I shall this dragon slay.
I'm about to eat all of these baby bugbears, unless someone can stop me.
Oh no!
Arrow, shall I guide you true, straight through the, straight of a hide the dragon through, and then.
I'll try and throw Ray.
Okay, so several things are happening at once. Finn, you are making a performance check. Broccoli, you're making a performance check. Budge, you are making an athletics check to fling Rain. That's what's happening, yeah?
Yeah.
Rain, you are going to make an acrobatics check to be good at being held and thrown, right? Because you're doing quite a lot of the work there to be easy to throw. And also to modulate your landing. Okay, that's 26 from Finn, who I'm assuming is
At
speaking in
performance,
Budge's
obviously.
voice. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. 21 from Rain. Okay.
That's good.
8 from
God,
Okay.
why work so much harder?
Those crazy high rolls on performance and acrobatics. Budge, the way this shakes out, Finn, with your keen eye for your sides of stage to see what your fellow performers are doing, you clock what's about to happen as it's starting. Budge, hiding in the side, grabs Rain by the ankles and is doing like a spin toss. I'm assuming that's how you're throwing her, actually, Budge. What would you do?
I reckon it was more of a shock put style situation where I'm sort of getting Rain to stand on both hands and then just going to like a poof.
Okay, that actually makes even more sense for what I was just imagining.
Right.
Seeing that Budge is doing this, and that means that Rain is going to have a really high launch point from where she flies as the arrow. You manage to change your posture from having a dead straight shot at the dragon to aiming up really high just at that time, and then as you let go, Rain appears over you, arcing up in a pretty similar arc to where an arrow at that angle would go, which earns some appreciative murmurs from the hunters in the front row. Rain, with your crazy high acrobatics check, you are going much higher than you thought you'd be going, but you managed to sort of keep your body in a bit of a limber curve and do a sort of swan dive with your arms out, and then right into an arrow point with those arms. And Broccoli, that was a 17 or an 18 you just rolled, is that right?
Me? I think I rolled a 14.
Okay, that's right. You're doing catch duty at this point. But you managed to, catch the much smaller Rain under your cloak, and then like grip like that with your scales outside like a cape, and Rain's little feet sort of sticking just out of the other side of the cloak.
As he does, I'll make a wounded dragon noise.
Oh, a horrible screech.
And I will pull out the jug that I keep on me at all times and spray a bit of wine around.
Nice.
It goes spurting out from under the cloak, and that earns a bit of a gasp from the kids who are like on their knees, like right in front of the dragon. They're like, ew.
Oh, whoa! How can this arrow cause such pain? Is it here tipped in magic? Oh, I fear I am slain. Oh, I could fall on you in the front row if you aren't careful. Oh, catch me! No.
Oh, thank thee, mighty hunter. Woo.
This is the end of the action, I presume. Are we following up? Okay.
Yeah, we're bowing.
As you take your bow, people do applaud, and the loudest applause is coming from the folks who just ran up to see things. They had no context for this. They're like, "Ooh, a play just started. We caught it." They're super excited, and some of them start running up to you, and people are like talking about how great it was, and like, "Whoa, is that how you did it? Is that how you slew the dragon?" But the main event here is that hide.
And as it sort of ends, and I imagine like the hide gets like splayed out, Budge will pull all of the stuff that he's preserved well. So like he hasn't touched the stuff that he's a bit worried about, like the internal organs that he did his best to preserve. But like, what can you do? But he'll pull out all the stuff that he's like tanned, like fangs, claws, bits and bobs, and lay them out on top of the hide as well.
Alora! This must be the opportunity to empty the disc. Bring it down!
The disc is not with us at the moment, Rain. The contents are all in the bag of holding. Giles is here, though, and I'll get Giles to pull the hide off and lay it out for the others to get a closer look at.
So very startlingly to some people in the surrounding area, invisible hands seem to be readjusting some of these items as they're leaning over to look at it, and they're like jump to the side, unsure of what's going on. But you have effectively just like this is like throwing gold coins in the street amongst strangers. Like this is a group of hunters and trackers and trappers by nature. And they are.
I'm keeping a good eye on it. I'm keeping a good eye on it.
Yeah. It's not so much that people are getting handsy. It's more like they just can't believe what they're seeing.
I'll say to Harlow as well, if there's like a hubbub in between, I'll say, in short, we took it by surprise with a magic arrow.
How accurately can I minor illusion a replica of the scene?
That's a good question. I
Like a
believe
little
minor illusion
diorama.
takes place in a 5-foot cube.
I've got
and
enough
it's still.
space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I-
can definitely do that as long as it doesn't move. You can
No.
mind's
just-
eye to cube, basically.
I'll just static display the moment that Budge took the shot where we all were and what the dragon looked like and stuff.
Now,
Just clear the air above the heart.
yeah, and this is so cool. It's like a holodeck above.
Yeah.
So that happens, and you can recognize yourselves from Alora's memory of these moments. There is
What does it
the
look like?
Look how
there's the
close
big
we
tree.
were.
Too close, Rain. Too close.
I mean, look, Alora sees y'all every day and has a pretty great memory. It's a faithful rendition.
You could play a pretty good game with this.
Alora, dost thou not think that these moving pictures will be the death of live theatre?
This picture moves not, Broccoli.
I still feel that it has taken some of the luster off the performance we have just given. Now they are all staring at, better rendered visions of what has occurred and have forgotten the very magical portrayal that we have given them this day.
Hey, Broccoli, it gives but context to their imagination that thou didst give fire to.
For what it's worth, Finn, you might be familiar with some magic that makes moving pictures. You've probably encountered it in your time. That's very much a thing that bards can do. With around. The folks who are nearby, many of whom may not have seen this particular spell before, are like in awe as well of that. And someone's like, "Look, it's bees in the tree." And there's like the big tree where Budge. No, there's Budge. There he is, up the tree. You're nearby the tree. And then there's the dragon. You can see the exact image from sort of a down around perspective, and Heragor lying, head kind of in the water,
Back
arrow
and to the
protruding.
left. Back and to the left.
Enhance.
Wait, who's that in the background? To see Edwin back.
It
It was behind the bush.
There was a second shooter.
Imagine Edwin Banks was the Where's Wally of all of Alora's memories now. He's just lurking in all of them. It's too good an idea. I wish I thought of it. Okay. But in the sort of hubbub surrounding this, the Harlow and a number of the other sort of elders who you were talking to before sort of make their way over closer to all of you, or especially to you, Budge and Delora, where you're standing nearby there. Saphira kneels and looks very close, and kind of takes a bit of a sniff of the air, shakes her head in wonder, and looks, stands up, and she puts out a hand to you, Budge, like for it to shake it. And it's one of those big, like full forearm kind of grabs, and not a crushing grip, but firm. And it's like, this is something that you've not seen Saphira do very often. And when she has, it has usually been to respected members of other clans.
Yeah, Budge is like tearing up almost.
It is like, yeah, and she gives it like a single sort of shake, and then shakes her head and says, "I don't believe it, Budge. You done it. You really have. All of you. But you shot that arrow."
I mean, the arrow did quite a lot, but
They say 'tis a bad hunter who blames their tools. Well, let's not go giving them all the credit neither. Eventually, a few of the other elders who were around, they let enough time go by that people can like satisfy their curiosity looking at things, but then they start to sort of shoo, especially some of the younger ones away. Especially the younger ones, Edgy, you'll notice, who's been making a lot of trouble, keeps trying to grab at some of those claws, like not very well, a couple
I'll
of
start backing him
times
away.
pretty well. He's not to be deterred, that one. So yeah, they start shooing them away, and once that's kind of happened, although a lot of the folks who are kind of like on the younger to middle end of seniority kind of try to stay closer for longer, and then eventually they take the hit. And you're back sort of sitting with the others who have adjusted their sort of sitting arrangements to have these larger dragon pieces that you haven't packed away yet, just sort of laid out between them. And then Ichabod speaks again and says, I believe your plan, Mistress Finn, may be an inspired one. I have been keeping watch all this night, I have. And I am to lay me down to rest shortly. Puts a hand up. Esme is already starting to speak, and then Ichabod just sort of like waves it off before it starts. I shall this vigil keep all nights henceforth, till certain we may be that such visits shall not come again. And then she looks, Orthos. After I've rested, I should like to spend some time with young Patches, if not permits. And Orthos sort of just nods his head. He looks quite hungover, actually. Like, to look at him, he was drinking pretty heavily last night when y'all were singing "The Glory of Love," and he's looking pretty worse for wear, and sort of shakes his head out of a brain fog moment himself. Right. Of course. I she'll be willing. I'm sure she's eager to have you have a look. And then Ichabod says, I've a mind that she's an interesting one. Need to keep an eye on her. Very interesting. Now then, I shall do my best to keep us safe from spiritual hands. To keep the gates of the Dream Weave when all of you join. I take it you were disturbed last night before I did intervene, is that so? What of you, Rain? Did you dream last night?
I had a dream that I do usually have, but it did come true. Anyhow, let us not entertain ourselves with dreams. Do you think Patches is possessed by a demon still?
There's a bit of a murmur at that, especially from some of the Gantru, who look both frightened by that suggestion and also maybe not quite denying it. It's got a bit like maybe you've said their fears out loud kind of thing. But then others, a few folks nearby put a hand out to Orthos, things sort of like, no, it couldn't be that. When it sort of dies down, Ichabod says, I believe that she is touched. I believe she may be gifted.
Do you think that there's something she knows that she hasn't quite shared?
All of us have things we know that we've not shared, even with ourselves, Budge. Especially with ourselves. 'Tis the right of the weaving to pull all threads, even those what fold underneath those we can see. I think Patches has seen very much, and I do think she shall see more still. Far more And I would like to help her be ready for that. But I do not think, Rain, to answer your question, that the spirit is with her now, but its touch hath been on her.
Oh,
And it
I
may
do
find
understand.
her again.
I do understand. I have met people like that before.
Have you? A few other people in the group nod their head. Demons are a unpredictable sort, but they have their patterns.
I cannot wait to hunt one.
How would we? You know Ichabod? Saphira?
Saphira just sort of furrows her eyebrows, and she looks like she's about to say something. She doesn't. She looks to Ichabod. Like as not, Saphira, you'd like to put your arrow through the way Budge did that dragon. Saphira chuckles a little bit. Sometimes, if you aren't lucky, you may be able to do so. There are two fields of battle on which you may a demon meet. The first, of course, is mine. Why, the field of dreams. Among that weave is where they make their true homes. And that vast and dark and brilliant space, which is of and not of our own. Why, your spirits touch it each night. And last night, she looks at each of you. I believe it touched you harder than you are used to. I see it on you. So it is with all who first come to the Moonwood, but last night, the knocks were loud upon the door. And I need rest.
I have a sick plane.
What say you, Rain?
Did they not say there were two places to fight, the dream world and...
Aye. Creatures of spirit such as these. In some way, they're always touching. For like, touch with like, so it goes. Every good hunter that lesson knows, and there's a few chuckles around, especially from some of the older hunters in the group. So, she puts out her hand for you to touch, if you like, Rain. Your finger, my palm can touch, for it are like it, both flesh, fur, bone, blood. But within you, there are other ways to see you changed. Them are the ways of spirit. Your fear and your sadness, your rage. These are all the motions of spirit in your limbs, in your head, and in your heart's blood. And she looks at you again, Rain. I think you've heard what they have to say. Some have louder blood than others, and some finer ears for listening. The second place you may find them is when they make themselves in flesh most felt, for they do delight in their ventures here when they can. Great excitement your flesh can give, for they can truly become all that they are. That which is possible, which could and might, becomes is and are. Why, when they can your axe wield, and your kisses give, and your flesh walk through, just as ye did put that dragon's on. There are old tales, of course, very old tales, of places where their world, the dreaming, and ours are closely knit, knotted where the weave is fine. It's there. You may meet them as you do on that battlefield mine. There the demon has flesh and blood, and flesh and blood can be hit. If you are to find them here, it is some place where the veil is thin. Such places there are. I have known them, but they do not let themselves be easy found. The wood is wide and wild, and it will heed your designs, your wish. And of course, like every such dealing with spirit kind, getting what you wish is perhaps the greatest danger you could find.
Well, it is clear, friends, it is clear from what we have heard here that the demons are hiding inside Rain. We must shrink ourselves down into the size of a moat and somehow inject ourselves into Rain, therein to track the demons down and fight them on the plain where the veil is thin. Somewhere in Rain these demons lurk, and when we are small enough to investigate, so too shall we conquer them. So we need some sort of ray of shrinking, therein a small ship to travel in, up the veins and into the brains, to find the demons where they lay.
Broccoli,
Aye.
I do not think we need to go through rain, but through a veil, but between our world and the dream world, somewhere in the forest.
That makes more sense.
Ichabod chuckles, hearing your explanation, and then she starts to strain a bit and get up, and Esme, realizing what she's doing, sort of tucks and just like helps her to her feet and says, "Now, you're going to strain yourself, Mum." She's like, "Enough of you. Get me to my bed. You'd not like to see me when wrath is moving my spirits.
No.
I know how to control it." And then she sort of like begins to stutter step off as one of the other bugbears from the Gantru clan steps over and grabs her other arm, and Saphira pointedly stays behind. And Ichabod, people make a path for Ichabod to walk through, and they take her over to her tent and are in the process of gently laying her down and closing a tent so that it's as dark as can be in there.
Alora?
Go ahead.
Alora?
Finn.
Everything okay? You okay? How you doing?
But weary, my friend, and jealous of Ichabod who had to have it.
Should we make you a little tent? Would you like a little nap tent?
How much time do we have? I think mayhap we need to prepare. Thou didst promise us to achieve such in a day.
Does I need some healing? Shall I lay on some hands?
I don't think that it will assist me, Broccoli. It is possible I could make a potion of sorts with one of my corpse flowers, which might assist me, but maybe there's someone here like Esme who would be able to help me in such a task, where I probably will
You just have a nap.
You even had today's tea yet with the snow blossoms.
I can sleep the rest of today where I will be useless to all of thee if I do. Happy to do it, but want to wait.
I wish to go hunt a demon.
Exactly, and
Right.
I really don't. May I?
Yes, a lethargic Alora is not really the magical
Should we-
cane brand.
Is Esme there?
Make it-
No, she went with Ichabod.
Esme is nearby, and she's in fact coming back, having apparently been fussed out of Ichabod's tent, and you can sort of hear a grumble coming from that direction. Esme looking a bit harried. There's a bit of a sigh.
Yes, babe. I just want to ask thee a question.
Oh, yeah. What is it, Alora?
I found myself powerfully exhausted this morning from an experiment I tried which worked, but not in the way that I thought it would. Anyway, yesterday thou didst give me this flower, which I know now to be magical, and I thank thee for it. Very keen to learn what thou dost know about it. However, for my purpose, I do have this other magical flower, and I've got 4 of them, so I'll just pull out one of the corpse flower.
Okay.
Which I do know, if mixed into some sort of tincture, will assist me with my exhaustion, but I know not exactly how to steep it or what I need to do. And I thought mayhap thou mayest know something of this matter.
So over the course of that discourse, Esme looked curious, and then she seemed to stop paying attention to you entirely for the middle bit, and is like closer to you and just like looking at your eyes, looking at your like posture. She's looking back up and down, leaning forward, left and right, and then you pull out that flower, and it is back. And Esme is only looking at that flower. Where did you get that, Alora?
In the swamp.
Is so.
We went to seek the house of our friend, which had gone, but in its place was this.
They've met, I believe.
My mother saw her, gave it to me. She gave me one, and I
Sawyer hath given you
found
that.
others at the place where her house was and is no longer.
Oh. Yes. Mom did tell me that she did old Sawyer meet.
It's a very useful and lovely lady.
Terrifying.
Now, a moment, may I? And she puts a hand out for the corpse flower. Takes it, and then puts it like in a sort of bit of burlap that she has. Sort of like looks at it in the light, and then keeps it in that burlap, and then puts it down, and then says, "Now, let me have a look at you, shall we?" And then she sort of like puts a hand out. She wants to like lift your chin up slightly so that she can look up at your eyes. And then she's like, "Now follow the finger here. Yep, watch that. Yep, all right. Now you have not. Oh, wait a moment. You have just awoken. What sort of experiment is it you speak of, Alora?"
It was a lapse in judgment, which I should not have attempted. Was I have the ability, as an artificer, and the ability to infuse pieces of myself with objects, which is how I am connected to Budge and Broccoli and Finn in our heads.
Pieces
Here,
of
sorry,
yourself,
yes,
you
here,
said.
present. What? You called?
Hi, Broccoli.
Hey, I'm still here. Present.
It is.
You need me?
possible- No, thanks. Thank thee, friend. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Roger, over and out.
Yeah. It's possible for me to link myself in this manner, as thou didst see, and I attempted to do so with a gemstone that I found, and it worked, but the stone was very powerful, and it's made me tired. That's all. I'm just tired.
Alora, thy body is not tired. You have extended your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and this, like a set of its own limbs, you have overextended, if I guess aright.
Most useless of extension of arms, I would nearly always go for what I can achieve with my mind over strength of my fist.
And then she sort of takes your forearm close to the wrist and picks it up, and then moves it slightly, drops it. I think perhaps you have learned a lesson of what the body pays heed to of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Could have told you that was going to happen.
Was that just in my head?
Yeah, and specifically about being scolded by his mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll just reply, and I probably should have guessed.
So you should have. No.
That was too much.
And in that case, she did not respond that way. She'll say, "Now then, your most efficient remedy to this woe shall be a night's rest. You should take the easy this day, go about no dangerous business, or you shall find yourself overextended once more. Now, this..." She picks up and looks at the corpse flower again. Powerful business, this, Laura. Very powerful business. Dark business. But you may be correct.
Not often that my tinkerings do lead me astray. When I examined it closely, it did inform me that it has the property to assist one who is under heavy conditions, such as maybe one who is stunned or poisoned or exhausted, as I am, would assist in the remedy of. Am I wrong?
A moment. She's gonna move away with the flower and set it down, and she sits and begins sort of humming to herself and taking out some ingredients from her pouch, setting them in a circle around the flower, and then with a claw of her forefinger, etching some lines into the dirt in a variety of kind of patterns, some of which are sort of letter-like or glyph-like, some of which are sort of more like pictures. She sort of looks curiously at it and then smells it. It's back. Seems to be slightly repulsed by what she finds, then intrigued. Right you are, Alora. 'Tis most strange. If you will allow me, I shall see what can be made of this bloom, and if you are willing, permit you to try it as a treatment.
As much easier as it would be to sleep the remainder of the day, I fear my friends require my assistance sooner than that, so I will attempt it. And mayhap do the second foolish thing that I've done.
Well, I will not pass judgment on whether a foolishness you're aware of is better than one you are not. But you speak true, and were not for the events of yestereve, I should have a harsh word for you and forbid this entirely. But shall do my best to trust mine art. Well, perhaps ask fewer questions of this bloom's soil. Shall tell enough tales in the brewing, I think. And she takes the corpse flower over to a small pot that she already has boiling in a small fire in front of her own tent. It seems like she just kind of generally keeps this fire, at least on hot coals, always ready to put back up. She fishes a few things out of the water that she has in there brewing and strains it, but keeps it going, and then begins a process of preparing the corpse flower. And she's going to be at this for probably another 15-30 minutes at least, sort of prepping it, distilling things, separating things, getting a few other ingredients. So she is preparing something for you. While that's going on, Saphira looks at all of you and says, "Oh, if there's something that can be done, Esme will find it. And the rest of you lot, you are to venture out into the woods. There's a few things you should know. Keep yourself safe. I hope you heeded, Nan, what she said. When she speaks, especially when it be hard to understand, oft times, that's when something of most note is spoke. The wood listens to ye. I have no other way but to say that. It knows you. There's little use hiding from it. This is how we're able to find this place every year. How Budge could find it, even if I had not found him. He knows it, and he wishes for it. And only the way one who's looking to return home can. It's a powerful magic in a home, even for those of us that keep it on the move. Now you're leaving home. You're going to get back. I hope you stay with Budge. If you don't, for any reason, a moment, and then she goes over to her and Esme's tent and comes out with a bit of a small bag. Said a few words to Esme, who sort of nods over her shoulder and points. And she comes out and says, "This here's backleaf." Now Esme's plucked it from the grounds nearby here, and she holds it up, and she's got two strange-looking weeds. For weeds is the only word to describe what these things are. They look just like those long stalk-like weeds with like the different segmentations of just tall grass with sort of Y-shaped profusion of seed pods at the top normally. But instead of being elongated, these two are circular. And the Y is sort of emerging as a V from the middle of the circle. She takes each of them and breaks them in two pieces, one at that V and one directly across the circle from it. And she hands one of the pieces to you, Rain, and then she'll take the second one that's whole, she'll break it in half and hand one of those pieces to you, Finn. She says, "It matters not which one of you is holding them. Probably best to make sure it's not Budge. You can decide who you want to have it. When you need to come back here, that half will speak to its sister, and she'll bring you home. Keep it on you, so we're safe. Take it in your hands when you want to come back here, and think home. Wish for it harder than you wished anything. She'll bring you back."
We won't need it.
Right. Nothing ever goes wrong with you lot. Everything according to plan.
You saw the play?
Yep.
So I did.
Rain, why speakest thou so quiet?
So, does one of us need to put down one of the ones we are holding now so it can talk to the sister to come home?
Nay, and then Saphira takes up the two halves that she has.
Ah!
From each of these, gave you one each. I shall these others plant nearby, and they shall be your guide.
Can't help but notice that I received a leaf knot.
I, for one, have no intention of going very far away from Budge, out of these woods. So he will lead me back.
And apologies, Laura and Broccoli. These are difficult to find. 2 is all we have in current supply.
That's fine.
Budge,
It's probably not a popularity contest or anything. Rain and Finn were just randomly selected to receive the great honor of the homing leaf.
Do you want to know why I chose them, Broccoli? There's a reason.
No pressure, no pressure. But if you could just outline some of the brief reasoning behind it, that would be much appreciated.
I'll tell you precisely why. Sized you lot up the moment I looked at you. You've got muscle.
True.
You've got range. and you've got Budge. And she sort of smiles at you.
Yeah. I also have a giant spider who's linked to my brain.
He laughs, but she points at you, Broccoli, and you, Rain, and says, muscle. And then she points at Alora and Finn and says, range, Budge. I gave 1 to muscle, 1 to range, and then Budge is Budge. If you separate become, according to the ways I assume you fight, well then hopefully you're not too far astray.
Very astute.
What I got from that is that you don't think I need one because I can take care of myself. That makes sense.
Yep.
That's true, Broccoli.
Yes.
That's it.
Hey, wait, you can hold on to this one.
Oh, I mean, I'll hold it. I mean,
With that backpack.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna go away from your sister for a little bit, but we'll bring you right back. Don't you worry. You're gonna see your sister again, okay? Little Leaf, don't you worry. We're gonna look after you real good.
Now then, if you're to go out, best to be doing it early. Best to be aiming to come home before dark falls.
Before you're all fed.
Esme should be finished with that shortly. When she is and you're all fixed up, make way. And I'll with you come a ways. But then,
Oh, you've got work to do here.
so I have. Just so you know, I'll be tracking circles, moving ever outward from here to a bit of a way. It's what I was doing when I met you. There's something. Well,
Should we be wary of anything beyond this demon? Other things in the area?
the largest deer I've ever seen in my life. In my life, Budge. Seems unimportant now, but these hoofs.
No, like one that you could ride.
Oh, big as horses. Certainly must be. Why do you ask?
We did cross paths with a group of people, that were our adversaries that did ride around on giant deer. Very loyal beasts. But they didn't fight for their masters.
Fighting deer, you say?
Huge
Like
thing.
command, like a mount, like an horse.
Aye. Not a wild animal. Smart as well.
Oh.
There were a man with a tattoo on his face, like a mountain with wisps of smoke, if I do remember correctly, who were fighting with them, who... Well, he were a nasty piece of work.
Budge. Say you
What?
true. A mountain with smoke under the eye.
Aye, under his eye.
All of you seen this as well?
Never forget it.
What would you know?
That mark. That's the mark of the Brimstone Order.
The same one as...
Aye, the same.
Oh,
A rival theatre company.
No, Broccoli.
the ones that worship demons.
I can't say for sure what it is they believe, but I can say for sure whom it is they serve, and it is themselves. Brigands, thieves, and despoilers.
Alright, and we
Poachers.
we need not talk about it now, Mum. We don't need to get into all that.
The name itself does infer some demonology, brimstone. Does this not fire and brimstone, the very landscape of hell impart?
Indeed, so it doth. The brimstone also of the Smoking Mountain. I have the old tales.
Well, then they might be prowling about. So,
Well, I have to say this, Budge. The tracks I've been tracking, they're big, large enough to be ridden, sure. These weren't being ridden.
not deep enough.
No, nor shod, but not deep enough, most like. These are a wandering lot. I know not on whose business, if not their own. Keep an eye out.
Will do.
Then,
That's right.
I do not mean to encroach on your territory, but did you just hear that? Tracks I've been tracking. Sounds like a song.
Tracks have been tracking.
Rose.
Ring. I do think thou art on to something. We shall work on it as we track while we're trekking on the road. We are roaming something. Yeah.
If what you say is true, Budge, and the Brimstone Order are flirting close, we have an extra eye to keep out, even if they're not to do with this demon business.
Aye, but I can't think of a reason they'd be following us, so...
Are you, Yeah, you are.
Am I?
Can't you now? Can't you now? Well, in any case, Budge.
Can I at least roll for it?
Yeah, sure.
I know I suck at lying, but you never
Give it a
know.
go. Give it a go. Can't you now? Matters not, Budge. You're safe, mostly. That lot should have a fair bit of trouble getting into the wood. Things aren't too much changed.
Unless one of them has been here before.
Unless one of them has been here before.
Right, well, we'll keep an eye out. We should probably get some stuff ready before we have to go.
Right then, see to it. I'll find you when Esme's ready for you. Oh, I think she's nodded off. There you are. Have you right as rain in a moment. Oh, no pun intended. It is now 2 minutes to 9. I think that's a good place for us to take a break. And when we return, we'll have a potion prepared or a tincture of sorts, perhaps.
Love a tincture.
Yeah, love a tincture, indeed. So, those of you who are watching, thanks very much. We are going to take a roughly 15-minute break. We shall return at 9:15. So, stretch your legs, make yourself some today's tea, and we shall return anon for a bit more Shakespeare-inspired D&D. See you shortly. We are back. Well met, everybody. We're returned from the break. Hope you are refreshed. Got yourself some tea and stretch your legs. It is time for us to begin a bit of a demon hunt. So a couple of points of order to establish first. First of all, Esme approaches your group, and you specifically, Laura, very gingerly, holding a steaming kind of earthenware bowl of a very thick-looking liquid. And she sort of sits cross-legged on a blanket nearby, wherever you are all sitting, and kind of gestures for you to sit across from her.
Yep, I will.
He says, "Now, Laura, I've done my best to make this a more pleasant experience, but Well, there's not going to be getting around what is in store for ye here. It is powerful magic you're about to experience. And not the manner in which I'm accustomed to administering it. This bloom has saved us a good deal on time and cost. But I suppose that's because the cost hath already been paid. Now, here you are, and she'll hand them the sort of bowl to you. And then, with you holding it, she'll then put her much larger bugbear hands kind of around your hands. She'll take a breath, and then start to hum. And as she hums, she finds this sort of resonance and leans her head back. And it's almost as though a breeze that isn't there blows across her fur from the shoulders down to the edges of her fingers. And then you feel the breeze that wasn't there come across your skin and flesh like goose pimples all the way up to the back of your neck. And then the steam that's rising up off of this liquid, as though a puff of wind has just blown it into your nostrils. And the scent is strange. It is like this onslaught of dirt and earth and muck and blood. And the blood is the second note that hits. First, it's that strange coppery twang, but then it is strong, as though your face is being rubbed into a pool of blood. It is overpowering. And then she opens her eyes and stops humming. Says, "Drink it all down now, don't stop." And sort of pushes it towards you. Do you drink it?
Yep.
All right.
And I say, worry not, my friend. In my travels, I have drunk many a thing that was noxious, but most palatable.
And I will tell you, Allura, none of those things tasted like this. You've traveled far and seen many a thing, had a number of strange cocktails, even since you've joined the Cane Band and Broccoli's efforts to that effect. I have a note about that actually to tell Broccoli in just a second. We'll get to that. You drink, and it is like drinking molasses.
Like
It
drowning
is
in mud?
thick. A little bit like that.
But with more umami.
It coats your mouth, and it is difficult to get it down. It doesn't feel like something you should be consuming. It's like your body, well, it's not rejecting it, it doesn't want it. So you're having to, it's like, think about choking down terrible cough medicine as a kid, but like 10 times the intensity of that feeling. It is an endurance moment. And then at the peak of that sort of struggle, there is a strange moment of reprieve and a little taste of honey, of all things, and perhaps a bit of lavender, kind of sticky sweetness that for a moment hides the horrible sticky viscosity of this substance. And as that note hits the roof of your mouth, you feel a rush of heat, like fire, inside of you. And those of you who are close enough to see, including, I would say, Esme in this case, would see like those goose pimples immediately flatten out, and it is as though Allura has been sprinting. Her breath starts to increase. Her skin flushes from a blue to a kind of darker purple around her face in splotches, almost like hives, like an allergic reaction. But then the breathing begins to subside, and that heat coalesces in your stomach like hot iron. And then it cools. And there is that pins and needle feeling all over your skin, down to the tips of your toes and fingertips. And it's like your brain had a cover pulled off of it. Suddenly, those colors are back to brighter again, but not painfully so. It's It's like a half dozen things you were meaning to think about remembering to do suddenly jump back to the front of your mind. Everything is sharper again and clearer again. You feel like yourself. And the last drop of that stuff is gone. And you lower the bowl, and Esme nods, takes it, and says, "Now there, you look better already."
I think the ministrations have had a most efficacious effect. I feel great.
And so your words do indicate you sound like Alora again. She puts the bowl down and says, "Now then, see you don't given yourself cause to go using any more of those blooms for a while."
I won't. I regret the use of this one in this case when the rest would have sufficed. We just have not the time.
Well, there are strange things we come across, sometimes dark things, but we make use of what is lost and what is found. That's how we stay alive, isn't it? Now then, she stands up and says, "I expect you'll be off then. Saphira's given you the back leaf, has she?"
Yes.
Good.
But I look forward on our return to learning more of this bloom from thee, and I'll hold up the one that she gave me.
Well, I shall tell you what I know of that time.
Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them, Backleaf. You're the best bloom of all.
Esme, she is starting to leave, but she is turning to leave, and she turns back, puts a hand on your shoulder, and says, "You come back in one piece now. Look after them."
I will.
She sort of squeezes your elbow extra hard when she's turning away, and then walks back to towards Ichabod's tent and sort of stops at the door, thinks better of it, and then moves along to her fire again and sort of dumps out the water from the corpse flower and begins vigorously scrubbing it.
Could I, before we head out, could I track down Patches?
Yes, you can. The thing that I meant to tell you also, Broccoli, is earlier, when you got so excited about snowberries,
Yes.
it reminded me, it would have clicked in your head tasting today's tea. Snowberries was the secret ingredient of the Sticking Place cocktail. Something you were trying to figure out, the one that you were getting in Gadmouth all the time that really, really gets to you, that bitter sweetness.
Yeah.
Snowberries. That's what it is.
I need snowberries in my cocktail because it sounds just like a song.
Tracks what you're tracking. You can track down Patches. She is over. She has moved away from the fire now, and Nosh, her mum, is hovering nearby. You can see she doesn't seem to want to really let her alone. But Patches is kind of looking much more lively. It would be right about now. You probably noticed that you haven't seen her with the other kids. She's been just with her mom most of the time, and now she's kind of following a group of other kids who are playing their games and like doing that thing that kids do when they're like about to ask to join in, but kind of like want to get seen at first. That's sort of the scene that you walk up upon. What would you like to do?
Our good Patches, it's good to see thee with life in thy eyes. How art thou?
Well, hello, Master Broccoli, is it?
Aye, that it is. And I do confess we are about to a dangerous mission embark upon. Into the woods go we. And so I would ask a favor of thee before I leave.
All right. What is it?
I do have on me a ball that is most special to me. It has brought me luck, and I have treasured it since I first ate from it. And I fear this mission may cause its breaking, and so if thou has a bag or a place to keep it safe, I would trust thee to mind my ball if thou would, and keep it safe till I return. And I will tell you this, though no others know this, it is a bowl of much luck. It hath kept me safe when there was dangers all around me, and it hath brought me a happiness I knew not before I had this bowl. And I would like thee to hold on to it until I return, if thou wouldst.
A lucky bowl.
The luckiest that e'er there was.
Oh yes, I would like to hold on to it.
And if we have not returned by mealtime, I would recommend thee sup from this bowl to increase the luck therein, or it also holds a decent portion.
You have eaten joy from this bowl.
Such
It must
joy.
help the melancholy that you feel.
Well, it staves off ill feeling. Fills a hole in my belly, if not a hole in the soul.
Well, when you return, perhaps its joy will put a hole in the darkness that surrounds you. Thank you. And then she takes the bowl and kind of runs off towards her tent and puts it away in a safe place.
I don't know, Backleaf. I think she sees more than she lets on. What thinkest thou? Don't answer me, Backleaf. I don't want to steal thy magic from thee. But I trust thee, Backleaf. I trust thee.
Nosh kind of makes eye contact with you, Broccoli, and she just has this look of like, can you believe it? Just like, oh. And then she kind of like follows on after Patches to see what she's up to. Budge, as you're sort of gathering up your things and heading over with Cane Band from across the camp, Zilla catches your eye and just sort of like. And Saphira will join all of you at the edge of the plain, the clearing rather, and she'll say, "Right then, you'll all follow me. I'll take you out a piece. If there's any questions you have."
Don't happen to have a bunch of magic arrows.
What I hear, that's your department, Budge.
Oi, whole quiver full of them. I was just checking.
Right then. What were you about to say, Rain? I thought, were you saying something?
Brock.
Rain?
Are they taking Web Sebastian?
I mean,
Tink 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 tink.
he shall come with his bell if we so wish. And I mean, I would wish perhaps Alora could rest upon Webastian. Although Alora's looking much more sprightly than last I saw her.
I am well, thank thee, Broccoli.
Look at you, zesty, if anything.
And Webastian does trot up with bells tied around those big leg hairs of his.
You
on
should
one
take
of
the
back
bells
legs.
off him.
Oh, there are the bells that I lost.
Yeah.
Uh,
Why ask thou? What thinkest thou, Rain?
I
Web-based shenanigans? Is that what thou thinkest?
was thinking more on. I think I may be able to remember a ritual to summon a demon, and
Right.
we could put the demon in Web Bastion's body.
Ooh, this is quite the body to house a demon. Is this the wisest course of action? Forget I asked it. It's brilliant. I'm on board.
And then we can kill Web Bastion.
Wait, whoa.
Wait,
Hey,
wait.
what?
And then you can just summon him again.
I hear what thou sayest, and yet... Webastian will have the memory of us betraying him and slaying him. He will be killed and resummoned, and yet that act will be within his mind that we have done this to him.
Perhaps you could ask him if he wishes to be a sacrifice. After all of us have died, including Alora now, for she did drink the flower that killed her and now she's alive again.
She saw a deity just like the rest of us, and then she came alive again.
Yeah.
Definitely did not die, Rain, but sure.
Well, since Webastian's name starts with W, this can be Plan W. I have got down to Plan D so far. We can think of several more plans to fill in the gaps between D and W, and if none of those plans work, then perhaps Plan W will be our best course of action. It sits ill with me, Rain, though. I like it not. A friend who can be resummoned is still a friend. Think not to slay those who I hold dear, regardless of their reappearance values.
I just do not. I would volunteer myself, and I am, but I'd fear I would be dangerous, possessed by a demon.
And the giant spider would be be nothing, would it?
Yeah.
Come on, Rain. Look at Web Sebastian is terrifying enough as how friendly he is.
And
When
also,
it's in the morning.
yes, to taint Webastian with it, and because also if Webastian is then reborn later, the memory of having a demon inside him will taint that fine steed that we so love. He may never be the Webastian we know. And also, Webastian is connected to my mind. If this connection was then a demon to have, who knows what chaos could ensue? I'm tempted to find out, I admit. Could be fun. But I also know that it could a slippery slope be. And before we know it, I too am a demon. And then what?
Yeah, you're walking, talking at this point.
Yeah.
Saphira's taking you into a kind of an old deer run that seems to lead away from the campsite, and it winds back and forth a bit until the clearing is out of sight behind you, but not too far. She takes you up over a small hill, and this is like a couple of hills beyond the one that you went up the night before, Alora. But she takes you to the top of this hill where the trees break slightly on the south-facing side, or what most likely is the south-facing side. And then it gives you a bit of a view of the forest below. And just ahead, the trees take on a sort of different appearance. Probably 10, 12 meters ahead, though the rest of the forest around you has kind of a typical spring bloom about it. A lot of green and small blooms and flowers. Ahead, the trees become gradually grayer, and then many of them white.
Uh-oh.
And Saphira stops and turns to you and says, "Now then, up ahead's, well, it's a strange place. And of all the places of the Moonwood that I know, seeking this one often brings signs and wonders, though of course also trouble. In my way, I've brought it here, and bringing you here. I think it's a place to start. Now you remember how to find your way home."
Oi.
Oh, we should have got Webastian to lay a thread of web. We could have followed that back home. But we've got the back leaf, so it's all good.
Oh, you have. Oh, you
Budge.
have.
Oi.
Has this forest always looked like this?
Like this here?
Yeah.
Why, I believe it's only this part that looks like this, and there's many parts of this wood.
So has this particular piece of plat of wood always looked like this?
Or is it cursed?
I
Is it
reign.
cursed, Budge?
So it has. Long as I've known it, this
You.
piece always been almost snowed out, as it were. Not proper snow, like, just be it in the midst. Why, 'tis like standing amidst a snowy field, or in the midst of a snowstorm, all around such white and grey. The beauty of a sort.
Rain pulls out the moon sword and goes "Ah!" and starts running towards the forest.
We best start moving. Leading us here, Ma.
I send Webastian to keep pace with Rain.
Have you removed the bells from Webastian, or does he still have them?
I think we took them off.
Yeah, okay.
We talked about
You
it.
mentioned it. I just wasn't sure if you followed through. Okay, he goes clomping off at speed, trying his best to keep up with Rain. Although, if I'm not mistaken, Rain might be a little bit speedier.
It's all right.
Let's find out. I'm actually curious.
Puts us into such trouble. Just the
Yep.
whole like.
Rain is 5 feet per round faster than Webastian.
We need one of those child leashes that people have to stop, like, the ones to stop like toddlers from running into the middle of the road.
Just imagining
That's how-
Rain here. You
look at
refer
my
to her as a
rope.
child.
Budge. That has restrained Rain many a time. And getting into a scrape such as this.
Saphira gives you a little bit of a head nod back as you take off after Rain. Come back in one piece, Budge. More runs to come.
Right, and morons going.
Aye,
As
he laughs.
as soon as Rain gets to the white bit, she wants to do like a sniff and a hear and a check and see if she can like see any signs of demons or like anything to do with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can make a survival check with advantage if you like. $15. You got another one to go just in case. All right, 15 is the one we go with. Okay. Now, Rain, you're coming in here with a head of steam and a purpose. So, in your mind, in Rain's mind, what does she envision? How does she envision this hunt going? Like, she's excited, she's on the trail. What does she see when she imagines what's to come?
She is remembering back to like her parents sitting around the fire and like talking about times that they have hunted demons. And I don't think Rain's ever actually seen a demon. She's only heard stories.
Don't imagine them around the fire. Jeepers.
Or
Too soon.
Not that fire.
Oh, fire's fire.
Telling the stories about the demons and I'm guessing too that when she gets to the edge of the wood, like even when she's just like when she's doing these basic checks, when she's having to like go on to that knowledge from like that far back and like sniffing for certain things, she probably talks a little bit to her blood as well at the same time as listening and smelling and stuff. So she probably ran full bout and then like kneeled down, stabbed in the ground and was like, "Rrr." But like Rain just had to run to the edge because Rain's like full of adrenaline, like ready, like let's go.
Yeah. Okay, Rain, with that adrenaline pumping, you can hear your blood calling out to you, thumping in your temples and in your heart. You plunge that moon touch sword down into the ground, and something happens. As you do so in the soil at the line of these ghostly white trees, Allura disappears.
and she's turned into a book.
Bound to happen.
Oh God, we lost another one.
I didn't even kiss it.
Or did you? You were very drunk.
Allura is fine. Rain, on the other hand, you plunge this sword into the ground, and in front of you, all of these trees suddenly, in a kind of rapid forward and backward motion, give you vertigo for a moment. You're looking out ahead at them and listening and smelling, but all these trees suddenly crisscrossing many different sort of lengths and sizes and thicknesses, and it's like they expand in all directions around you, and the blood thumping in your temples and ears begins to speak. And you hear your mother's voice.
Oh no.
And your father's voice. But you hear them in the voice of your blood. And as you speak, it's though you're starting a conversation. And what starts as in your mind is suddenly ahead to the left. You can hear it. It's one of the trees. You're almost sure of it, speaking in the voice of your blood. Do you go to it?
Yeah.
Okay. Rain takes off up ahead and to the left, with purpose, on a trail. The rest of you follow.
I take the sword though.
Sure.
I'm not leaving the sword behind.
Oh no. Yeah, I presume.
Yeah, at speed.
Yeah.
We'll keep up.
Okay.
I'll lead them. I'll try and lead them as quick as possible through. so
Also,
that-
if we've gotten into the white part, could I use an action to use divine sense?
You sure can. Remind me of what it is Divine Sense shows you.
Detect good and evil. I can sense anything affected by the Hallow spell or know the location of any celestial fiend undead within 60 feet. That is not behind total cover.
I might call out to Rain if she's still within like distance,
Mhm.
and I might try and hushedly just be like, well, not hushedly, I'm like calling out. I should be like, Rain, slow down! We're gonna let him know we're coming.
Stage whisper.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Slow down! Come on.
Rain, you know very well you're not making noise. You're not shouting or anything. You're just speaking. You're speaking to your blood. Very
And are
low.
you still running like ahead?
Yeah, she's sprinting ahead for
Yeah,
sure.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, you can hear her like moving through the undergrowth and stuff. But like to you, Rain, you are on the hunt. It is just like being back, wolfed out in that dream when it is so close you can almost taste it. You get to the tree that you were seeking, and everyone else is catching up behind you, and you can hear that tree. Blood. Here. And then the tree echoes, and then another tree up ahead, slightly to the right, picks up, this time in your father's voice, not your mother's. And that's when it were drained from him, drained from him, drained from him, drained from him. An echo of the story that you had heard. The wolf and the white, the wolf and the white. And the closer you get to this other tree, the louder that voice gets. Broccoli, as Rain is beginning to move from tree to tree, following voices that it seems she can hear, but the rest of you, this place is silent. There is hardly a noise, like hardly a noise at all, except for Rain crashing along from tree to tree.
I object. I am not that noisy. I am a halfling and I am a half werewolf. I am pretty stealthy.
Are you actively trying to be stealthy?
No.
And I'm going to use
In chainmail.
I'm going to use my diamonds to bring Alora back to life after she got killed. Yeah. So.
Here, hold on. I'm just dealing with a Gran who might bite me in his sleep.
Oh yeah, no, we don't want that. Okay, actually, Rain, you're not wearing chainmail, are you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you've got a breastplate on. I thought so. So you're right, Rain. You're not generally that loud. If you were trying to be stealthy, you'd be even quieter. But in this dead silence, this absolute silence, even Rain's relatively quiet sprinting does loom as like an echo throughout the trees of this place.
And then there's me with my chainmail following close behind.
Yes, and Broccoli, absolutely at speed, is just like a herd of elephants. But Broccoli, you activate your divine sense. You haven't done this in a little bit of a while, but you feel that familiar warmth in the back of your mind, moving outward through your eyes and nose and ears and into the tips of your hands.
Spoopy doopy doos, where are you?
Now, 60 feet you said is your range, right?
Yeah.
Of whatever's not behind total cover. You're getting something. Now, the way that this is working is very strange, because normally you would be picking up a particular creature, for example, or a figure of a person in front of you or to some side. And that is not what you are sensing. You are sensing motion. Like something ever at the peripheral of your vision, and you look left and there's nothing there, no aura, none of that the sort of gleam or shadow that you associate with the beings that this thing can find. Like when you saw the owl and it gleamed with that celestial light, you've just missed it. And you're looking to your right, and it's though, again, you just missed it, but it was there. Like you saw the tail end of it, something. And almost more like a smell than sight. There is a fiendish presence here. You cannot make it. You can't lock your eyes upon it. It is moving fast, so fast. And doesn't seem to be staying within your range in a kind of clear, rigid way. It's definitely fiendish.
Be careful, friends. We are in the hurricane. The woods are alive with death. All around us.
Can
I'll cast See Invisibility.
Okay. You cast your spell with your tools, and looking around, you don't see anyone besides your friends. There's no ephemeral figure the way that you saw Swamp Dog that time in the cave's mouth. Nothing is coming up. But you can keep it up for however long it lasts. What is it, an hour?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got that up as long as you concentrate on it. Yes, Rain. I'd say something.
Yes. Rain would like to do two things. One, turn into a werewolf and imbue one of her claws with her crimson right.
Okay, so you can roll your right damage.
Yeah. And then the second thing she would like to do is remember grim psychometry.
Psychometry? Psychometry? Yeah. I've never heard that word said out loud, to be honest.
It's
measuring of the souls. If you
when you think about geometry.
Yeah.
Geometry, psychometry.
Yeah, geometry measures the earth. Psychometry measures the soul.
And then, to use on the location I'm present in to see if I can feel or hear the history of the place.
Okay, you can do this. You see, all of you see up ahead, Rain bloody her claws and wolf out, or not in that order, of course. And then make...
It's history.
Yes, make a history check, actually.
Yeah, and I get advantage on this.
That's correct.
Ooh. Here come the rolls. This one's gonna be good.
So well.
It's gonna be really good.
Oh, that's all right.
Not bad. 19. Okay, Rain, you've not used this ability before, have you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Now, in so much of your life, your young life, you have had so little guidance. So few occasions where someone taught you step by step how to do the things that you can do. And in like so many other things that you do, feel and you act, something about these trees is calling to you. And you know that it's resonating strongly with your blood. And it's exciting. It's also alarming. Well, those of you watching Rain see is her stop and then turn towards one of these trees.
Oh, thank God you stopped.
You can hear it again, this voice. The wolf, the witch and the white. That's where it is. The witch and the white and the wolf.
You put your claws up against the bark of this tree and it gets louder. You're getting warmer. And then the rest of you see Rain dig her claws into the bark of this tree and begin to pull down. And the tree begins to bleed.
Budge will draw an arrow.
Broccoli, how long does that divine sense last?
It just says until my next turn. I don't know.
Okay, so it dropped quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
Rain, this is where the voice is coming from. This blood is speaking to your blood. You want to listen? You know what to do. If you taste that blood, you know you're going to learn some secrets. You do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Rain in her wolf form leans forward, just like she has captured her prey. Takes a long lick of that blood coming out of that tree. And she goes still. Rain. Immediately, your awareness leaves your own body.
Uh-oh.
Which is a wrenching sensation because right now you are more in tune to your own body than ever. This is you and your element. You're wolfed out. You're tuned in. But in some ways, it's like your body expands massively. You don't have 2 arms and 2 legs and claws and teeth. You have 1,000 arms and 1,000 chests and 100,000 legs and tens of hundreds of thousands of toes, and they are everywhere. And you are moving amongst it, shifting your awareness here, there, and there, everywhere. You feel everything at once. These trees around here, they aren't many trees. They are one tree. These are all outgrowths of one enormous ash. A tree that can grow as a massive colony, not just as many trees, but it has entirely taken this space. And every piece of every leaf and branch is directly or indirectly connected to every other one.
Mm.
And what's more, the size and the scope of this great, incredible thing that for a moment you are, it can hold so much inside. Its life force is so great. Its memory so long. And the channels from its roots into the earth are so deep. And you drink in, and then you can taste something. You can taste where it's coming from. You know which of your 1,000 toes and feet is drinking from that spring. You know exactly where to go. Rain snaps back into attention. Her eyes refocus, and she turns back, kind of coming back to herself, that blood still on the front of her maw. Rain, you have control of yourself again, and you can feel it like a magnet drawing a compass that way. What do you do?
No more.
I grab her.
Okay. You notice your friends, Rain, are up hopping and keeping up with you. Budge is reaching out to grab you. Do you keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
in that
more
case,
like
Budge.
it's a pleading as well as a like
Okay.
stop. It's not like a. I'm not trying to like get her in a headlock or anything.
Okay,
It's
if you're
more
not
of a, like,
trying to
grab
grapple
shoulder.
her-
Come
Do you want to grapple her?
on. I'll try persuading first. I'll just say to Rain like, you can still lead us, but we could just go a little bit quieter. Please, Rain.
What do you do, Rain? You still off running?
Yeah. No, I go like this to Budge. And I like plant a big kiss on the side of his face with my mouth covered in blood and then just
Follow that wolf.
Okay.
Comrades!
I
You,
had a spell and everything.
yeah, that blood is all over the fur of your face now, Budge. Smells like blood. Oh, sharp.
Can I prestidigitate Budge's face to be clean again?
Yeah,
Like,
you can do that.
mate. And just as I run past, just like, oh.
No more of that. No more of that. Okay, then y'all are off to the races then. And Rain is trucking ahead. Now, Rain, you've got a little bit of a distance ahead of you. You can tell, not terribly far. You will have to slow down at some point, unless you want to make Constitution saves to try to keep up the pace you're going. If you do, you risk becoming exhausted yourself because it's a little bit of a journey.
I'm not running.
Yeah, Laura, seen enough of this today.
We're gonna get split up, aren't we?
Well, I'll walk quickly, but I'm not running after Rain. I can, if you want to chase her, I'll stay connected with you. But
We might end up like this isn't a straight path kind of situation where, you know, if we lose each other, like I think that following each other is going to be very, very difficult.
I'll think to Alora. Alora, do you want to ride? We're bastards.
Where Bastion's there.
sure.
I'm like,
I would say
we're bastards.
it's not me.
Go get Alora.
It is not me lugging behind Budge. It is the tracker who has chosen to run away from us.
Alora.
I know, but we gotta go.
Are you gonna keep pushing, Rain? Are you gonna push your endurance after a while of running, or are you gonna slow down at some point?
Rain's gonna eventually slow down.
Okay.
Alora, your Ubastron driver is 1 minute away.
Didn't I already?
Yeah, then you've saddled up. All of this takes place over a bit of time, right? So you're hustling along, and then eventually, you never get too far behind Rain because you stay caught up. But just where you're starting to get to that point where you're like, I don't know if we can do this. Much to your, I'm sure, relief, you see her little halfling form wolfed out and imposing nonetheless. Pause. Hackles heaving. Looking out ahead.
How long has it been?
I would say probably half an hour at least of good, fast-paced moving. If you had pushed it much beyond that, it would have been, you know, you're a group of folks who is in generally good shape, but past that, with all your stuff you're carrying, it would have been tough, especially in this terrain, even with Budge. Where Rain has
I wasn't carrying a bowl, so it was a much lighter for me. Lucky.
You can see where Rain has stopped. You must have come near the area, one of the areas you could see from above behind you where Saphira left you off. The terrain starts to slope steeply downward, and you can see a bit more of this area, but a bit more clearly from your vantage point now. There is a ravine of sorts that sort of drops a lot more steeply, kind of like a gouge into the earth, and the trees grow, or the tree, I should say. Its many trunks come right up to the edge of this ravine, and then some offshoots of it kind of coming out of the sides of it, but much more thinly and differently. But you can see it laid out ahead of you. You'll have to take it a little bit slower ahead, given the steep angle of the incline. But Rain, you are sure as anything, what you're looking for is down near the bottom of that ravine. Do you push on?
I wait for this lot to catch up.
They eventually do.
There are answers at the bottom of the ravine.
We are on the
Rain,
precipice.
We can't get separated out here. We'll just end up
Safety.
losing you and you'll be on your own.
Safety in numbers.
Oh, Budge.
And you'll get hurt, even as a werewolf.
Twice.
They are no longer traveling on their own, Rain. They are part of a cane band, and a band must stick together.
It was in that moment that she realized her friends cared. And she oh wait, am I narrating out loud again? I'm so
No,
sorry.
you're taking it over the Allura network.
Sorry.
Okay, I can hear these.
Bad.
Did you just stranger than fiction, Alora? Oh my god. Okay.
Here we are though. This looks exciting. It's like a tree hive. What's going on here, Rain?
I do not know. I know that at the bottom of this ravine we will find answers. Just trust me, my blood has told me so. Perhaps instead of slowly going down this ravine, where Bastion can give us a spider web each and we can abseil down.
How deep is it?
It's steep enough so that you don't have to use you don't have to climb. It's just a steep walk. Like you'd be able to kind of like just kind of side straddle your way down. You might occasionally have to use some trees to help you with some of the little bits of jumps. But Budge, I'd say with you. Yeah.
Oh no, we can just walk.
You think we're close? Reckon we're close, Rain?
Yeah.
Well, I could cloak our approach. I have a way of doing that out here where the magic gets thick in the air.
Ooh, what is it?
I could perhaps have us pass without a trace as we head down into this ravine.
Now, Rain, I
haven't
must
done
warn you, I have seen sailors use this in the past in my travels, and it only works if you do stay quite close to Bud.
Oh, and take our own clothes off?
Nay.
Yeah, we
that's
have to
not
be
me.
naked.
Close
No,
is-
All right. Nude up, everyone.
They can
The only way this is gonna work.
a reasonable distance from me.
Hey.
Is that a material or a somatic component? You gonna cast Pass Without a Trace, Budge?
Yeah, cast pass without a trace. And I'll just going to close his eyes.
So
and,
excited.
Picture that moment long ago when Mother Sawyer, when he drowned in that mud from Mother Sawyer, and her and the Huntress put a white arrow through his heart.
Oh.
And sort of feeling sort of that energy right inside him. He'll just pick up a piece of the dirt or the dust on the ground and like pinch it through his fingers and just let the wind take it.
As Budge does this, it's the strangest thing. As you're standing there, especially in this quiet place, just you existing there makes noise, and you can generally hear it, but it's hard to, now that you've gotten used to it, hard to notice it again until suddenly it vanishes. The little incidental creaks of you shifting your position, Broccoli, when your chainmail rubs against itself, just
Yeah.
gone.
Oh, I love being in stealth mode.
And it's as though the quiet of the wood has taken you back. Now, you will still need to make stealth checks if you want to be quiet, but because of Budge's spell, you will add 10 to the result of your stealth check.
Yeah.
Any stealth check you make during the
top of
amount of time.
whatever, yeah.
And as long as
gonna
the
be
spell is
so
lasting
quiet,
and you're
yeah.
within, what is it, 30 feet of you, Budge?
Yeah, within 30 feet. We don't leave tracks, and
Not gonna leave a track.
yeah, you get plus 10 on top of whatever you've got.
Broccoli's passing without a trace.
And it muffles
Look at
all
it.
singing.
Yeah.
Broccoli's gonna be like a ghost in the wind. Nobody knows that broccoli's here. Nobody knows that broccoli's near. Here comes broccoli, but you don't know it
Broccoli,
because
what
he
are you
doesn't leave a
mouthing?
trace.
You can roll your stealth checks, please.
I'll go at the back of the group. I'll go last,
Mhm.
as per usual.
Are you still on Webastion?
If we're walking now, I can jump down. I'll go behind him so he can go up high and keep an eye out.
Sure.
I,
we all
I think
Oh,
to
what a
a
journey that one went on.
Yeah.
19, which is a 29 rain, by the way. So add 10 to what you get. That's 29 for rain.
What's my stealth? Still. Oh,
Oh
that's
no, a 1.
Yeah, should have been rains, alas.
It's fine.
It's a 22.
Oh no.
Bro,
Should have been great.
Then you can re-roll it.
no.
Yeah. Oh, all right then.
But
Broccoli, that's
when
a
Alora
28.
when Alora gets down off Webastion, I also think to her telepathically, Alora, how was your ride with Webastion? If you were to choose 5 stars out of heaven, how many of those stars would you give Webastion for the ride that you had on him?
Oh, 5 probably. It's the most courteous steed.
I shall let him
Okay.
know.
Finn, I think we're yours.
Yeah, so sorry, is it stealth plus 10? I just missed that.
Yeah, regular stealth check and then add 10 to whatever you get.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't realize the 10. Oh, I
Yeah,
10 to mine.
I added to yours. It's
Oh,
28
thanks,
for you,
man.
Broccoli.
Thanks. Beautiful.
You know, you all rolled terribly and it just doesn't matter. Finn, the lowest.
I
with
rolled
a
pretty
16.
good.
Let's roll a 1 and got a 22. Okay. You're not the
Sneaky.
stealthiest of the group. Rain and Broccoli.
Yeah.
You literally leave no trace. None
Where
at all.
is broccoli?
And, this would
Nobody
this would
knows.
absolutely call to mind when you first met Saphira and Lim the owlbear tackled Budge out of nowhere, and none of you, even with your high passive perceptions, knew it was coming. When Saphira walked and jumped out of that tree behind you and made no sound when she landed, now that's you. When you step, even if you crunch over leaves inadvertently or twigs, it's like hearing it through blankets in your ears, just muffled, just sometimes. And it doesn't have that same sort of echoey distinction as every other noise you've been making in this very, very quiet wood. You're moving like ghosts through the white wood. You can creep forward at an even pace, a stealthy pace, keeping your footing and moving down this ravine. And you do make your way to the bottom of this area without coming across any kind of creature. Rain, your blood is still whispering to you, even more loudly at times. The closer you get to it, the more distinct the words become. Fine. Here. We drink, rich in the white and the wolf. And Rain, you and Budge and Alora, probably Rain first, but then Budge and Alora would clock on. But up ahead, there is a sign of a campsite. Small tents arranged in a circle nearby an opening in some trees. Hard to spot at first because of the darkness of the shadow of this ravine. Seems to have been chosen purposefully, in fact, to kind of stay obscured. But it's absolutely a campsite. And it's louder here, Rain. Whatever it is that you're being led to, it's here or very close. So
We stumbled onto a scout jamboree.
you can you have found a campsite. What would you like to do, gang band?
Quickly check to see if there's anyone.
Okay,
Like
you
scan.
can make a,
No
make a
need to
perception
check.
check.
I'm hiding. Broccoli's hiding. Where is Broccoli? You can't find him. Where is Broccoli?
Like a whisper in the wind. A strange tune. 29. It's a day for Budge's rolls.
Kill monkey.
Okay. Budge is out having a look around, looking at the peripheral of things. What are the rest of the game band doing while Budge is looking?
Looking the other direction behind, like watching our backs.
Okay, you can make a perception check as well then, Alora.
Continuing to sing my hiding song. Having the best time of my life.
Gonna be nuts.
29. Tie game. Okay. Alora, Budge, you tap into the matrix. The absolute silence that your group is keeping in, and as long as you stay relatively near to each other, you can keep it that way.
You rolled so well that you realized none of this is real. This is all happening on a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, we see the Adam, you can save us.
Yes.
Oh shit! Just move the demons.
You invented the demons, Adam. This is on you.
There's an exit sign. A few things. Rain, as that campsite pulls you forward to have a look closer, you can see that it is a shambles. The tent flaps of the two tents that are there are in tatters. There are slashes through the canvas of the tents. There are gouge marks in the ground. You can smell blood. Smell blood.
Can I roll to see what I can smell? Like if I can smell a wolf or a witch or a demon or whatever?
Make a survival check with advantage. Budge and Alora, with your crazy high perceptions while Rain's making that roll and Broccoli is singing to himself and Finn is capturing this moment for the next epic tale.
Never been so quiet in my life.
Okay, so from your vantage points, Alora and Budge, there's so close. Okay, so 15 is one we'll go with. We'll get back to you, Rain. Budge and Alora, looking up from where you are, the immensity of this section of wood is really striking and almost oppressive in the way it is bearing down on you. The sides of the walls of this ravine, many of the shoots of these ash trees and limbs are coming almost horizontally, or at like a 45-degree angle out from the sides, like a rib cage almost, reaching out over the heart of this ravine.
Like a rib cage?
I said like a rib cage this time. But
It's
beyond
a rib
that,
cage.
up ahead, there is just rolling hills of this expanse, and everywhere you can see, left, right, up, down, it's all these gray-white ash trees. Budge, you can confirm what you were suspecting along the way. There is no other vegetation. None. No brush, no weeds, no flowers. It is all these trees. The ground around your feet seems rich enough in nutrients, but just like the bit you picked up to pass without a trace, that top layer, it has a sort of pallor to it as well, that gray whiteness that seems to coat everything. Alora, looking as you are sort of to the other direction at your tail, you can see for one that there's no evidence that you all came here. Very strange thing. You'd expect, at least where Bastion went, for there to be some like cleared broken twigs or something, but it's like you've emerged out of thin air where you're standing. Both you and Budge, I think, even though you're not doing survival or investigation, with those crazy high rolls, you're going to see the outcome of something that Rain is now seeing the beginnings of. Rain, you smell the blood. It's a different blood. It's not the blood you tasted before. This is recent, relatively recent. There was blood shed here at this site. You can rooting around. There's all sorts of, there's little packs in the tents, and you can kind of pulling them out and chucking them around. There's no body in there, no bodies. As Rain is chucking these bags around, presumably looking, you can see that they sort of spill out. There's like clothes and sheaves of bound parchment, but no people. And Rain, as you're sort of hunting around, following that scent of blood, you find it. You find some on the ground just outside of one of the tents, and there's a trail. It sings to you, but it sings differently. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. This is the fear of a prey that has been found in its last moments, doing anything it can to survive. It smells great.
Mm-hmm.
Rain goes off
I presume, if you're going to follow it. Alora and Budge, you would see where she is headed and be able to catch up to her, because up ahead there is serious disturbances in the ground. What looks like deep furrows in the ground, some shallow, some very deep, like claws. Those smaller ones, kind of like the gouges that fingers might leave, but others more like thin blades, almost like what a scythe or even a sword or a sickle might leave if you plunged it into the ground at intervals. Taking all of this in, Caneman, what are you going to do?
I've started doing the soft shoe shuffle. And I'm singing the softest of the shoe shuffles. And I'm singing Mr. Cellophane to myself. Should have been my name, Mr. Cellophane, 'cause you can walk right by me, look right through me, and never know I'm there. So I'm busy, basically, is what I'm saying. I'm very busy.
Thank you for establishing that. We've added another to Broccoli's repertoire of traveling shows he saw in his time.
Can I try and read the tracks to see what sort of event occurred here?
Yeah,
Get a better
make a survival check.
Alora was about to go, Budge, art thou seeing this? But she sees him going over to the track, so she won't worry about it. He's obviously done it.
Mm-hmm.
I could use some help.
Rain, you're right there with him. If Rain's on the case, you can roll with advantage, Budge.
Right, yeah.
She seems to be following a different kind of trail than you. If you pay attention, 26, looks like you do. Normally, you would track this kind of thing, keeping your nose low to the ground. I actually forgot to ask earlier, did you take Peeves with you?
No, left Peeves behind.
Yeah, okay. Well, you didn't need his help this time because you have a werewolf. And unlike you, you're keeping your nose to the ground, and you can see you do have two werewolves, lest I forget. You're following these gouges in the ground, and it is a pattern of someone or someone's being dragged. That's distinctive enough. You can make that out right away. And it's going through this kind of strange, silty dirt that's quite soft and not very loamy or moist at the top. I shouldn't say silty, dusty, really. And it's some of it's blown away, but the deepest ones are still there. Rain, you don't have to get your nose to the ground to follow this. It's like you can hear it still and smell it up high in the air. Rain is just walking to follow it. Eventually, I think, Budge, you take it in that you're onto the same thing.
I'll relay that to everybody else as well.
Yeah. Budge and Rain, if you keep going, you'll find that this trail leads to the lowest area of this ravine. And there is an opening in the ground. Easy to miss at first, shrouded as it is by a number of these clumps of ash boughs sticking out. But the earth very clearly gives away there. And there's a little bit of sunlight able to penetrate in, but it doesn't go far. It is dark. And there's definitely a subterranean space of some kind here.
Hope there aren't snake people down there.
Why did it have to be snake people?
I hate snake people.
You all hate snake people.
Okay, man, what are you gonna do?
Bum, 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 bum. We need a plan. What's the game plan? We need a plan.
You still have it up, I believe. It's lasting for an hour.
Yeah.
So I would say you've got a little bit of time left on it. Not a whole lot. You know it's kind of ticking down. Nothing spooky has appeared as an invisible or ephemeral presence. But you see this opening.
I am sorry, fellows. I heard my parents' voices for the first time in years, and I'm running out of time as a wolf. And I just jump into the hole.
Right.
Finn is gonna cast invisibility and jump through straight after.
Everyone else, Finn silently vanishes.
Oh.
You, Alora, you see Finn do whatever Finn needs to do to cast this spell. What does Finn do? What does Finn do to cast invisibility? What's that look like?
It's just I think Finn kind of like closes their eyes and is like, and like disappears.
Yeah, so you just see Finn do this, and you still see her. She does take on a different aspect,
Yes,
though.
she does a bit
When you see
shimmery.
like a bit translucent, really, like a dark grayish blue sort of filter that you can see through slightly. She caspers out. So the rest of you follow Rain in,
Yes.
visibly and/or invisibility. Okay.
Trying to be stealthy.
We'll
Yeah.
keep that.
Who's going last?
We'll keep your stealth check. You haven't really paused to do much in the interim, just to have a look. So you're still moving very stealthily.
You bet I am.
Yeah.
I'm jumping in a hole.
Where did broccoli go?
Having a whole lot of fun.
Can you imagine how terrifying it would be for broccoli to suddenly hear the singing but not know where it's coming from? And then just a broccoli shows up.
Terror, true terror. Okay.
But you can't hear the singing. That's part of it. Yeah. No one knows I'm here. That's the whole point.
I feel like it's
Last one
only
down the hole,
Aura
I'll just
that
take
is
a quick
getting this
look
off.
back around where we were before I dropped down. Just double check.
Okay. Yeah, it's much as you left it. This place. No motion, no sounds. It's just the shadowy ravine with a bit of sunlight you can see behind where the sun can reach. You go into darkness. Is Webastian coming in with you, Broccoli?
Yeah, let's bring Webastian down.
Okay. You will
With
happily
the-
come along.
And I want Webastian to tether a web
Yeah.
from connect a web down through the hole, so we've got a web escape route if
Okay.
needed.
Interesting. Yeah. Webastian can do that. He will fling some web to some of the trees that are crisscrossing over the opening of this place and secure it, and then say, "I will trail it with me. I do hope that we do not need to use it."
Yeah, we can just secure. We can just leave it at the. We can leave it at the bottom of this. You know, we're at the bottom. You know, it goes to the top. You don't have to. You don't have to keep the web going along the flat, Webastian. You can. Can you sever it? Do you do a little? I don't know what you do down there.
Yes, I can. I will.
Like a little, like a snip.
It is.
How do you? I don't know. How do you
It's
snip
like
it, Webastian?
it's like a thrust. Like
Oh, you just do like a clench.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I clench and thrust.
It's like a muscle thing.
It's
I
like
never thought about it.
a thrust into the ground while clenching,
Hey, so it's a clench and thrust.
like a
you
stinging,
just-
stinging the ground.
Yeah. Okay. And that way, you know, you sever the web, and we've got it like a rope up to the top if we need it.
Yes, it will be lying there where I do. Yes. Let's go. Those of you with dark vision, you will see in tones of very dark gray and brown this deep dark cavern that becomes very, very dark very quickly. There is very little sunlight that is able to make it into this place. Who does not have dark vision?
I'll
Rain
put
and
the
Broccoli?
boat far enough ahead of us that it's a light we can see, but it's not. It's far enough away that it's not casting any light on us.
Okay, it emits a dim light for what, like 10 feet in all directions or something
So
like that?
we can see the tunnel ahead of us a little bit, but it's not lighting us.
And I put
Okay.
on my head torch.
So yeah,
That's not very sneaky.
It's the least sneaky thing I've ever heard of.
Smash hammer is
Is
less
it?
sneaky, broccoli.
I put on my jingle bells.
Guys, my magic, it's hurting me. I'm sorry.
I set off my fireworks. My fireworks.
All right, I don't put on my head torch.
Yeah, I don't have dark vision in
Right,
my.
but you can see the dim light ahead of you like a beacon, sort of.
Yeah.
So the world around you is dark, and you will have to kind of like put a hand out to the earthen wall, perhaps, to make sure you're able to keep your footing, or just move slowly, or
I'll
be
try
in
and
touch
move
with
a
one
bit
of your
ahead.
friends.
Yeah.
Then I'll be like a bit ahead of the boat. I've got dark vision and hopefully spot something before it spots the boat. Maybe.
You have especially good dark vision, don't you, Budge? In terms of
No,
your
that's
range. Oh no, that
classic
was different.
Budge.
That was different.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay, Budge, if you're going up ahead, make a perception check.
Oh my God.
Be another one.
Yeah.
Okay, still a 13. Okay, Budge, you notice a couple of things right away. The tunnel doesn't have that far to go, actually, before it opens up into a broader cavern. And you notice right away there is the sound of running water.
Underground water's always a bad thing.
It is, yeah. It sounds like a river. Maybe not a large one, but bigger than a stream for sure. It has the sound of water that has it has some obstacles. You can hear the kind of rivulets and rapids of it moving.
What does it smell like? Does it smell like water?
It does. It does have the damp. You can feel the damp. And all of you, as you get closer, eventually will start to feel it as well. That kind of closeness, that clinginess. Rain, you can feel it in your fur as it begins to, the moisture condenses and catches in there. But Budge, you might be in danger of tripping over it if you had rolled much lower. But you do notice before you get there are bodies on the ground. Humanoid bodies.
I'll relay this to Allura like instantly as soon as I notice it.
There before you on the ground in tones of dark black and gray, you can see the huddled forms of a few humanoid creatures. Smallish, a little bit bigger than Rain, some closer to Finn's size, like medium and small, kind of smattering of these, just lying in a heap, like corpses.
Can I come up and investigate, see if I can figure out what happened to them?
Why'd you have to say like corpses, Aaron? Why'd you have to say
I didn't like corpses.
like a ribcage, like corpses? You know what else? It's like 10:30.
I knew.
Oh no!
Which means that this is probably a good place. for
Have we
us to put a
stumbled
pin.
onto a pile of things that are similar to corpses?
What I will tell you, Butch, actually, since it's gonna be 2 weeks plus, you get close enough, Butch, you see something is wrong. Something is wrong with these bodies. For one, they seem to have ill-fitted clothes that are just slightly too big for them. And in fact, the closer you get, you can see that something is wrong with their hands. Their fingers, they're beginning to merge together. The bone has a sort of like they're not moving. The fingers themselves are kind of like merged in these kind of horrible postures of not quite rigor mortis, but like the fingers are blending.
Would you say like hooks?
One might say. Their faces, when you finally get close enough, you can see that one of them with their head back in a kind of horrible angle, mouth open. From inside, there's like a little bit of a protrusion pushing against the inner wall of the skin. And then that mouth opens wider and little mandibles stick out from either side.
Yeah, Budge is not gonna watch this fucking thing unfold. He's gonna fucking sprint back to the group.
Moan fills the air. That is where we're going to leave it for this evening.
Gee.
Yeah, that. Well, at
Yep.
least
So,
at least we won't feel bad about fighting these things.
In a month, everyone. You have to wait 4 weeks.
that is where we will leave it off for this eve with the Magical Game Band. They will not be back in a fortnight as per usual because, as we said, next week is the first of our witchy one-shots. Come for the first installment. Fair is Foul on the 24th of October with an all-new combination of our Bardic Inspiration cast play in witches, which I'm very excited about. More details about that to come. If you follow us on Twitter at Bardic_inspo and subscribe here, click on that bell. You'll be notified and reminded next week. We'll have our second witchy one-shot on All Hallows Eve itself on the 31st, that Sunday Eve, with the rest of our crew who are joining in to play in our second installment, Foul is Fair. I should end as per usual, thanking all the folks we need to thank. First of all, let's thank our technomancer, Matt, for designing Rollcast, this really slick system we use to roll these dice. Thanks also to Eric Matthias, creator of soundimage.org, where we get these great tracks we get to play in the background. Thank you to those of you who joined us on stream tonight. Welcome. And to those of you who have spent another time with us on our YouTube channel, you are welcome as well. Thank you, as always, to you, the cast, for mucking in. And we will see you next week for some witchy one-shots. We'll close, as always, by saying thanks, and more thanks. See y'all later.